Today we're going to be constructing the pint size ice cream cozy. And you'll need 2 pieces of cotton woven that you see here. And you're going to need 2 pieces for your inside lining. You can use a fusible fleece. You can use felt like I've used. You can do sew-in batting. You can use fusible batting, cotton batting, or a product called Insulbright. So I didn't use a fusible product, so what I chose to do was I just stitched my 2 pieces together, a piece of the outside cotton woven and a piece of my batting, and just did a top stitch straight down the long arms across both sides in an X pattern. And that is just to hold this together. If you use a fusible product, you can skip this step, or you can do it for a decorative accent if you'd like. So now what we're going to do is along these notches here, we're going to fold the right side of our fabrics together, just like that. You're going to pin this or use clips. And we are going to sew this together at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're going to sew through all the layers, just like I'm showing you here. I'm using a 2.5 inch stitch length on my machine. Going to lock this in. And I'm just sewing all the way down till we get all the way to the edge. Going to sew off the edge here. And then back stitch to lock this in. And that is it. So you're going to repeat this on each half. There'll be 4 sides to do, or 4 of these seams to do. So we've done 1. There'll be a 2 here. 3 and 4 need to be done. And you're going to do that on both of the pieces. So I'll be back once I get all those stitched. So I sewed the 4 sides together, just like that. There's 1. Here's the second one, all sewn together. So now what we need to do is we need to turn one of these so that it's right side out. Just poke it out, just like that. Very good. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take the one that's right side out, you're going to put it inside the one that is wrong side out. You're going to match up your 2. You're going to match up the side seams. And we're going to pin this together right at the side seam. Go around, do that in all 4 of those seams you created. Open up your seams as you do this. If I can get that one, doesn't want to go through. Old pins, some of these. There we go. All right, so once I get the 4 of these all pinned open and matched, what you're then going to do is you're going to go around and you're going to line up the rest of the top seam. And almost got these done. Okay, so now you have your top seams here that need to be aligned. So just put those together and just place a pin to hold those all together. Just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mark one of these petal parts as not being sewn. We're going to keep it so that we do not sew all the layers together through it, because we need a place to turn this. So I used a dark colored pin on one of these sections here. So I know, actually I'm going to change out this one over here so that it'll alert me that this is where I'm going to stop. Darn, I don't know why this is so difficult to get these pins through. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to start from this pin here. I'm just going to start a little bit in the flat area, just going to sew, just going easily around these curves till I come around here to this dark pin again, and I'm going to sew just past that and stop right about here, so that I'm going to leave the area between my thumbs here where they're not going to be stitched together. So I'll be back once I get to that point. All right, so I stitched all the way around the top here, stitching both of those little cups together. And so now here's my opening I left, and this is where you're going to turn your fabric through. So I'm just going to start poking this all through and pulling it out so that we get the right side out on all these on these pieces. So just gently, well, might have to give it a little tug and just poke it through and pull it out, and it's coming. It'll come if you just take your time and work slowly and help it through. Okay, so there it is. Now it is turned with both the pieces right side out, and that's what you want. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take the one that you decided was your inside, and you're going to tuck that back in, just like that. And we're going to come up here around this edge and pull this all so it's nice and smooth and pulled out between the front and the inside, the outside and the inside, just like that. And then one of these petals, remember we left it open so that we could turn through there. Yeah, here it is. This is the one we left open. So now what you're going to do is you're going to turn the fabric in, tuck that in, and just line up the inside and the outside along the seam that you created, just like that. You can see it's tucked in, and we're going to put some pins through this just to hold this, because now you're going to take this back to your machine, and what you're going to do is you're going to give this a stitch all along this curve here at less than 1/4 of an inch, because you want to make sure that you catch this front and this back, or the inside and outside here where you left it open. So I'm just going to put this in my machine here. This can be a little bulky. If you'd like, you could trim the seam down before you get to this point, before you turned it inside. For the right side out, we could have trimmed all this down, and it would make this less thick through here, and some machines might like that better at sewing. Now I'm going to do up to 4-inch stitch length here, because this is going to be a top stitch, and I'll be back once I get this all stitched. Okay, so I sewed all along the top here. Just did a close little top stitch all the way around, closed off that turn part. I'm saying this is now with the pint size ice cream in it. I think in my final product that I'm going to post, I'm going to make this a touch taller so that it comes up a little bit farther on the side. I see the original one I saw of this, where I got this idea, had wings on the side, and the pint really fit way down into it. And all I could think of was, if I was eating ice cream from the container like this, I don't think I'd want to have to wash my cozy after I was done. So that's why I decided to change the design and make it without the wings that come up, that would have been very, very close to the top here once this is opened. Actually, this sat down into it, that version, and I did not care for that at all, like I said, because it would get dirty with ice cream. And if you're going to be eating straight from the pint, I do not believe that you really want to have to be washing your cozy. So one thing I would recommend is that you trim before you turn this so that it is all right side out. I would trim down this 1/4 inch top seam that you make. I would do this at least in half so that this is not as bulky up here at the top, because this was difficult for my machine to sew through. I don't have a very expensive machine. Hope you enjoyed this video.